Welcome back into Main Street Living, Quincy. As we've been talking about extensively, it is March, which means the madness has arrived and YurView is getting in on the action.
Yes, we are, Danielle. Although I have to say, we won't be having the actual NCAA Championship games here on YurView, but we will have the Dance to the Dome, which is a weekly show bringing you all the madness from bracket breakdowns, game highlights, and expert predictions. So I'd like to welcome host of Dance to the Dome, Victor Howell, to Main Street Living. How you doing there, Victor?
Great, Quincy, Danielle. It's great to see you. Yeah, we're ready to dance to the Dome right here in New Orleans where we're taping the show. The Final Four is coming to the show, and I understand that we're bringing you all down. Wait, they're not coming? They can't afford it? Hey, if you all want to pay for your way to come down here, I'd love to have you down here with us for the finals. I'll show you all around the town. It's a great city to visit.
You know, you sound like a very excitable guy. Now, the first Dance to the Dome show, it debuts right here on YurView on Monday, March 14th. So what are you guys doing to start this tourney off?
Well, the exciting thing about the tournament now that it goes to 68 teams with the first four, that's actually Tuesday and Wednesday. So the 15th and the 16th, the tournament will start off to then finalize the bracket. So for our week one, kicking off this tournament, we're going to be looking at who might be filling in those four games when they play them in Dayton before we get to the first full round of action with the 64 teams. We'll take a look at teams that might have gotten an easy seed, maybe teams that look like maybe a sleeper, and then some of those teams that maybe you thought or fans thought might be ones that could get to the Final Four, but now they've got a tough road to go. So we're going to break down the first big bracket of the week and take a look before we tip off of these first two big rounds.
Nice.
Right. And there'll be a new show every Monday evening for the 4 weeks leading up to the championship. What can viewers see on Dance to the Dome that they won't get anywhere else?
Well, Danielle, the thing that we love about the show is we go to the YurView markets where teams are playing in your area. Look, there are 64 teams when it's all said and done once we get past the first four play-in games. So there's a lot of teams, there are a lot of games, and we've got 30 minutes. So you can expect a fast-paced show. We have analysts and coaches throughout the country in our YurView markets, and we'll talk to them. They'll talk about the teams in the markets, give us some insight to not only that team, what they need to do, but we'll also look at their opponents and find out what challenges they're going to be facing as we follow these teams on their way to New Orleans.
Well, you know, as we all look forward to every year during the tournament, there's the Cinderella teams, there's the buzzer beaters, there's the bad call, the ill-advised timeout being called. Like, what are you looking forward to in this year's tournament?
Well, you know, much like last year, if you remember last year's team, when we got to the Final Four, we had 2 1s, we had a 2, and we had an 11. That 11 was UCLA that made it to the Final Four, and eventually it was a 1-versus-1 in the finals. This year seems to be setting up sort of like that. This could be very chalky. For those who don't know, take the high seeds. Look, some of these conference tournament games have been outstanding in these buzzer beaters and last-minute shots to get to the tournament. But the dominant teams in college basketball seem to be the same teams all year long. We're talking Gonzaga, we're talking Baylor, Arizona, Duke, Kentucky, Auburn. Those teams have consistently been at the top. So this tournament is really setting up to be somewhat chalky following those top seeds on the way to New Orleans. So what I'm looking forward to is to see who is this year's number 11? Who is this year's UCLA that caught fire at the end of the season through the Pac-12 tournament, made it to the Final Four? Which one of these top teams might stumble? You know, Kansas is a perennial good team, but Kansas always seems to stub its toe late in this tournament trying to get all the way to the title. So who's going to be the team to pull the upset? Who's going to catch fire late in this game? Remember, you got to win 6 games and you'll win it all. It's a 6-game win streak that puts you as the national champion. So it might be chalky, but it's fun to watch. There are a ton of storylines to follow, too, between the top seeds. Duke, Coach K, his last go-around with the Blue Devils. It's the team everyone loves to hate. So there are a ton of storylines to watch. It'll be fun to see it all develop over the next 3.5 weeks.
I'm just glad that we have it because there was a year that we missed it, obviously, with the shutdown and the last couple of seasons being heavily impacted by COVID. Does it kind of feel like we're finally going to get a fairly normal tournament this year?
Absolutely, Danielle. And that could have been our lead. That could have been the lead when we first started talking here a couple of minutes ago. You've got bands, you have fans, you have cheerleaders, you've got student bodies traveling throughout the country. You know how some of these smaller schools, they love this opportunity. This is everything to get to the Final Four. Even if you make it to round 1 and lose by 30, the fact that you made it there, the storyline, the costumes, the body paint, the music, the cheering, it finally feels like we're back at the atmosphere that made this March Madness tournament each and every year the must-see event in the month of March. It feels so good because, you know, I know you all have been in the arenas. The excitement level just lifts when you've got the band playing and the cheerleaders and the crowd going nuts and you force another team to call a timeout. That excitement is what makes this tournament such a great tournament. So, yes, You absolutely said it. And that is one of the biggest storylines. We are finally back to what we all want in March Madness.
Well, Victor, actually, this is a really interesting storyline. Danielle, you're joining in on the Dance to the Dome as well.
Yeah.
So, Danielle, I got to ask you, what are you going to do for this show?
I'm going to be talking about all of the sports betting angles. So, I mean, Victor kind of started to talk a little bit there about how things are going to be a little bit chalky. That's kind of a betting term. So we'll try to keep it pretty straightforward so that even if you don't know a lot about sports betting, you'll still be able to get in on the fun, or at least, make a wager with a friend maybe.
That makes sense.
But more importantly, Victor, how confident are you in your bracket? Do you want to share?
You know what? I'm not. And I'm total disclosure. I stopped doing brackets a long time ago. When I was fortunate enough to play college ball, when I played at University of Tulsa, we made it to the tournament. I was all about brackets and wanting to watch who we might play and all the matchups. But I got to tell you, as the years have gone on and I've gotten away from the playing days, the stress is too much because I used to watch the tournament because I needed that number 8 to pull off an upset. And then when they lost, it ruined the bracket. And I kind of lost the excitement for the tournament. But this goes to what we've just been talking about. This tournament is so much fun. I kind of step away from it. I certainly want to see the upsets, but I just love all the atmosphere. I love watching the big games that go down to the wire, whether it's a top seed pulling it out or a lower seed pulling the upset. So I kind of just step away from the brackets and I just want to enjoy the excitement for 3 weeks, because once we get to the Final Four, we put basketball to bed for 7 months. Basketball is my sport. So Let's enjoy it. I kind of put the brackets away. I just want to see some great games and find out who's going to make it to New Orleans.
Hey, you and me both, Victor. So really quick before we go, how can viewers watch the show and get more information?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, we're on Mondays at 8:30, so you can watch it here on YurView. You can also go to the Cox Contour app and also on YurView.com. So there are several ways to watch it. If you missed the debut on Mondays, you can check it out all week long and get those betting insight tips from Danielle before the Thursday games tip. You got to get it before the ball tips off. So you can watch it online on demand, and we look forward to seeing you, and can't wait to welcome the Final Four to New Orleans.
Awesome. Thanks again, Victor, for stopping by, man.
Always great to see y'all. Y'all enjoy the March Madness tournament. We will too.
Certainly will. But there's a lot more to enjoy, because coming up next, we're calling all motorcycle riders. You want to know what that's about? Stick around and find out.